I was a guest on a podcast this morning when the host asked me to elaborate on my definition of narrative power, I define narrative power as the leadership ability to defy the normal when the normal is wrong. And so to answer this question, I talked about my own experience in life and my own experience as an entrepreneur. And I mentioned that I noticed that at several moments in my existence as a business person, as an entrepreneur, I felt like I was at a junction. There was a Y, the road split in two directions. One direction was the status quo, life as usual, and the other direction was a new opportunity, was a change. And that is often referred as a triggering event or the call to adventure in storytelling frameworks. And if you pay attention to your life, you may have noticed that there's been several moments in your life where you had to make a decision that had a huge impact and that transformed the way you look at things and you do things differently. So I use these examples to explain what narrative power is. Narrative power is your ability to take the more risky, adventurous, unknown direction that is inspiring you, is calling you, is attracting you, and defying the other force, the other energy in your life that tells you, no, stay there, don't change anything, go buy the book, go follow the plan, even if that's not necessarily what you need right now. Follow the plan. And there are really those two voices. Maybe you call it the saint and the devil, the good or the bad. I don't think it's a question of good or bad. It's maybe a question of different. And for me, one story I have told several times here on this, in these series of videos, I've told I've told about my origin story for MetaHelm. MetaHelm started, the roots of MetaHelm go way back 22 years ago in 2001 when I was a consultant on a project for large corporations, and I was involved in a project where I kicked off the project. I could have let the project go the way it was supposed to go, uh, theoretically per my agenda that day. And I decided to derail my own agenda and defy the normal because the normal was wrong for this team and confront the fact that the problem that this client was facing was not technical, but was a relationship. Like the team was not efficient. And so I decided to go the other way, the road less traveled. I use my narrative power to defy that normal and to say, no, there is another way to do this. I can change the course of this project and I can defy what's normal for this team for their good, for their benefit. That's what I mean, for their benefit. But it took me courage. It took me to risk my reputation that day, but also maybe my career. I put my career on the line that day in that moment. Say, no, we're going to change that. I asked everybody to close their laptop and draw the projects that they were working on and help them realize through the drawings that they had a completely different vision of the project. All of them had a completely different vision of the project. So I think of narrative power as your ability to make a decision quickly and follow your intuition and follow where life wants to emerge on your path, and the ability to take the courageous move that will take you again, on the direction of the Y, whether it's to the left or to the right. I in this video I seem to point to the right, but whether it's left or right doesn't matter, north or south or east or west. Narrative power is your ability to say no to the routine and to defy that routine because you know that that routine was probably good for a while, but now it doesn't serve you as much anymore. And you want to thank that status quo, thank that routine, thank that life as usual, and send it on its way and look the other way and change something about how you operate as a person, as an entrepreneur, and or change the way your clients operate and do certain things. And if you pay attention, you may realize that those whys in the road, um, there's some big ones and some small ones, some maybe less noticeable ones. In fact, after this interview, I grabbed my journal and I wrote down the big whys, the big whys, letter Y, in my life, and I quickly wrote 5 of them, big why. So one was, the project I mentioned. 2 is my relationship with my wife, how I met her. I could have, you know, I could have dismissed this relationship very early on, but I actually did a 180 degrees change and actually decided to build that relationship with her. Another one is a story that happened to me when I immigrated to the United States. I came here in 2008, right at the onset of the financial crisis, and I had to take odd jobs to make ends meet and to pay for to pay for the bills to feed my family. And one of the odd jobs I got was I was a handyman and gardener and janitor and cashier and jack of all trades for this little pharmacy down in Tacoma, Washington. And one afternoon, I was digging in the dirt. I was planting stuff in the fall, and this old lady and comes to me and say, "Oh, I like what you're doing. Are you a landscaper?" I was not a landscaper by trade, of course, but in that moment, I thought, I have 2 options, yes or no. And yeah, actually, in the moment, I am a landscaper, right? If I go by what is happening now, if I am a nowist, Nowist, I am a landscaper. And so I decided to go the road less traveled and explore what her answer would be, and said, yes, I am a landscaper. Thinking right now, I am a landscaper because I'm landscaping. And it turns out that she liked my work, and she invited me to take a look at her garden, and she asked me to redo her entire yard, which paid for a lot of my bills throughout the winter. So that was another why in my life, and then I wrote down more. So these are the big letter Y junction that I faced in my life, and then I mean there are countless others, but sometimes the little junctions happen during the day. When I start my day and I look at my plan, and here is one that happens all the time. I can either fight resistance, I can go with the flow and procrastinate and kind of put off till tomorrow what I should be doing, what I wrote. I said I would do in my plan, or I can actually decide to defy that normal and go against it and change my attitude towards my plan and what I want to be doing, and fight resistance and fight and go against the energy that want me to get stuck in my ways, and to resist taking the risk to, say, reach out to potential new clients, or record this exact video right now. So there's all sorts of those little whys during the day. You have, your day is made of tiny little decisions. And the way you make those decisions, that systems of decision making, is what I call your narrative. This is the power that you put in making decisions. This is your narrative power. And that narrative power can be positive or toxic for you. It shows in the way you talk. It shows in the decisions you make and the actions you take. And it also shows in how you think about who you are, how you define your identity in your mind, in your heart. The way you look at those decisions all the time. Those, am I gonna just gonna go with the flow, or do I actually want to tear down everything today and rebuild the way I work with clients, rebuild my marketing, stop putting off till tomorrow the rebuild of my website, stop putting off till tomorrow the day I'm going to publish something, stop putting off till tomorrow the day I'm going to say no to how we do leadership coaching, for instance, because I have another idea, I have a new way. Or stop putting off till tomorrow the way we sell in professional services, whatever the situation might be. It is up to you to decide, and that your narrative conditions those decisions. That is your narrative power, your ability to defy the normal when the normal is wrong. So narrative power helps you make the decisions that you wanted to take for a long time, but that you didn't dare taking, you didn't have the courage, or you didn't have the confidence taking, or you didn't have the clarity of mind to take, or the guts, or the belief in yourself, because you didn't believe in yourself in the first place. But if you start following your intuition, and if you start listening to where life wants to take you in your business, you will grow more narrative power. You will follow, you will be the disruptor that you hope to become. If you think about all the great famous entrepreneurs, Rick Hastings with Netflix was at a crossroad, a junction, was in front of a Y one day. He had rented a movie at Blockbuster and forgot to turn it. It was late and I had to pay $20 in fees because it was a few days late. And he returned the movie, the VHS tape, paid the fee, and on his way back home was starting to fabricate the lie he would tell his wife to hide the fact that he returned the movie late and he had to pay a fee. And then he stopped and realized, I am at a junction here. I can keep going like this. My normal narrative would be to hide this and be a liar. He didn't say it like that, but that's my interpretation of it. And the story is available on the New York Times, I think. But and he posed and said, I'm not going to put my marriage on the line because of a stupid Blockbuster video rental fee. I'm just going to acknowledge that I had to pay that fee, but I'm going to go further. I'm going to think about what we can do to create another option for people who want to keep their movies as long as they want without paying a fee. And as he continues to walk, he walks in front of a gym and realizes, what if we could apply the business model of gym memberships to movie rentals? And that's how Netflix started. By definition, if you are confronted with a Y as the letter Y, and you notice it and you want to do something about it, you are a change maker. You are the creator of a different way to do something. You are the person who can dare to do things differently. You are the person who listens to their intuition, but goes beyond that stage of just awareness and stops and starts taking action to change, to go the other directions. That's how change starts. In that meeting in 2001, where I was leading that meeting with my client, I started and I created change and I impacted this client from the moment I decided to derail my own agenda. From the moment I decided this client asks me to put an agenda that feels very comfortable, very traditional, very safe, but that's not what they need. I can see from where I am as an outsider that they need something different. They don't need to work as much as they think on the technical problems and solutions that they've stated. They can't see it, but they need to work on the way they work as a team. They need to align first on what the project looks like. they need to build a narrative that they share first. And so I had all freedom and leeway to accept that risk and say, let's stop the meeting the way it's supposed to happen and let's do something else. Let's draw instead. Right? Change making is using your narrative power to change the course of your entrepreneurial journey and make a decision to take the more risky and more unexplored and more and less more unexplored, the less explored path to what you're about to do in your business. I hope this helps. And if you want to know more about this art of and this way to think about business, if you're interested in joining a community of people who share the same desires, appetite for change, who are seeing the whys in the road every day, but chose to do something about their whys, I invite you to join the MetaHelm Changemakers community. It's available to you if you go on my website at metahelm.com and click under services and select the community option. You will join a community, a small group, a small community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are interested in building a business that has more impact and that also makes more money to fuel that impact. Walt Disney, the great Walt Disney, once said, we don't make movies to make more money. We make more money to make more movies. And that quote illustrates the spirit of the MetaHelm Changemakers. There's a balance in that community between, and there is a reason why we want to make more money, not just to fuel our ego or to show off with a better car, better clothes, or show up with a better status. No, we want to make more money to be able to change more easily and have the funds to take more risk more easily and continue to take the right side of the why when it shows up in front of us. Join us in the MetaHelm Changemakers community, grow your narrative power, and make an intentional choice and conscious choice when you see those whys showing up in your life. Good luck. And as always, I welcome your comments and questions. Thank you so much.